All right, Trillion Capital Management Fund whistleblower Mosilo Mothepu has written about the pain of exposing corruption. She's divulged details involving Trillion, Eskom and Transnet, and says she was triggered by the assassination of Clement Mare and his son, and also other attacks on whistleblowers on ordinary citizens who are just trying to do what is right. Mosilo Mothepu joins us now via video link. Mosilo, thank you so much for making time for us. When you saw the assassination of Clement Mare and his son, what went through your mind as a whistleblower?
Good afternoon, Clement, and good afternoon to our viewers. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I think I've been triggered by the lack of protection since I blew the whistle, since I went to the Zondo Commission. So I've always known that any individual that blows the whistle needs to be protected and rewarded, like I recommended when I went to the Zondo Commission and the president when we had a 2-hour walk. And those two gentlemen, the president and the chief justice, undertook an implementation plan. When I heard the assassination of the Brigadier Teron, there was a cold shiver down my spine. I was fortunate enough, after one of the person accused in a Transnet matter, I was subsidized to get protection, but at my own cost. But since the 11 who are standing trial for the 93 million rand club loan, fraud and corruption and money laundering charges, which resumes in April this year, I've had a good Samaritan who essentially has provided me with 24-hour security at my home, and where I go out, I have a protector at his own cost. But that shows the failure of what was promised to the whistleblowers. How long do we have to wait for another person to be assassinated? And for me, what triggered me, it was in the middle of the day with the Murray son and father, and you could see that they were followed, and they were busy liquidating Busasa and Trillion. And so it's not just whistleblowers now who are attacked and not protected, but also vice-chancellors who his bodyguard was assassinated. But of course, we know that the bullet was meant for him. So in my article that I wrote in the City Press today, I just felt, and I wanted to reiterate what Chief Justice just said, and also remind the President, we are waiting for you, sir. But how long must we wait? There's only a few. I'm very fortunate that I am alive and I have protection, and also that my affidavit has resulted in arrest. But there are others who've had to flee the country because they fear for their lives. I have to say I've never gotten a death threat. I always say any good assassin will never give me a call before. But there was a security assessment done on me, hence the Good Samaritan provided me with this. So I'm asking South Africa, even if the government does not keep its word, there are many other Good Samaritans who can assist other whistleblowers in protection. And I also appeal to the President. We need a fund. We can't wait for criminal proceedings to conclude. It takes 15 years, you see. So what happens now? I have to wait 15 years for me to be rewarded on the Transnet matter, should the accused be found guilty, or the Eskom once that gets on the court roll. But there should be a fund because, we lose our livelihood. I'm the lucky ones who is working, and I try and support other whistleblowers. So I call them to NGOs. I know there's a whistleblower house. There's also they depend on private funding, but there are also other Samaritans out there who can lend a hand while government is
So
is just giving us empty talk.
Yeah, and the sooner government acts, the better. When the president responded to the State Capture Commission's report, he said that they're reviewing the Witness Protection Act to give effect to the Commission's recommendations on the protection of whistleblowers. There are also issues around immunity from criminal prosecution arising from honest disclosures. But what I felt was missing in that address is the issue of paying whistleblowers, because the Deputy Chief Justice at the time recommended that they should be given that incentive to make disclosures, right, a monetary reward of sort, based on a percentage of the proceeds that are recovered on the strength of the information that they have provided. The President didn't say anything on this, and maybe it will be in legislation, but that's going to be key, isn't it?
It's going to be key, absolutely. Like I said, people who have blown the whistle, they've lost their livelihoods, they've lost their homes, they are unemployable, and their sin was integrity and blowing the whistle. So such a fund needs to be established, and legislation needs to be affected immediately. Because when you look at how historically we've been treated, any person right now who has information about corruption, they will be deterred because they see we are isolated, we are neglected, we are not protected, we are rewarded. But I believe that South Africans, including the legislation and the President and the Minister of Justice, can expedite. There's a lot of money from the asset forfeiture unit. There's a lot of money that where assets have been preserved or frozen because of disclosures. Why wait for 15 to 20 years for these criminal cases to be found guilty? But in the meantime, we've lost our livelihoods, we've lost our assets. Many of the whistleblowers have lost their houses, they can't afford school fees, they've had to change schools, all in the name of integrity. And for me, I believe it's a joint effort by civil society, by government, and those good Samaritans who can reach out and help everybody. Unfortunately, my case is more known, but there are so many other whistleblowers that there's no reason why Ethel Williams is in London right now. He should be here and celebrated, and he should be having a very prestigious job. He's highly educated. But corporate SA doesn't support us. Business Unity South Africa, we appreciate them, but they say the currency of integrity is their ethos. But when we knock on their doors, we're told that we're too controversial and we remain unemployable. So there has to be two forms of funds. Funds for now, that you cannot lose your house and your assets because of your integrity. But after the fact, when your disclosure does really conclude in a prosecution and conviction, then you will be given a portion. This is what they do in the U.S. and this is what they do in Germany. And I made these recommendations to the Zondo Commission, and I see that he put them in his recommendations. But the wheel is turning slowly. Yeah.
Is it fair, though, to say that government is complicit in the matter of those who speak out against corruption because of their failures, really, to protect the whistleblowers?
They're absolutely complicit because all the resources are there. You have government officials who have protectors and drivers without any security threats. I've never seen a government official that has been assassinated. Maybe they get killed because of road accidents, because of speeding. But every month we are now seeing a trend of government protecting the political elite, and those who are on the right side of history are not getting the protection, they're not getting the reward, they're not getting the recognition. You know, I was thinking about when the Banyana team won, and there were celebrated when they came back with that victory, and they were rewarded. And I said, why can't we be treated like that? We are also heroes. We need to be celebrated. We need to be rewarded and protected and given a safe legislation, a safe place where we can ensure that state capture doesn't happen again. Because if the government continues to be complicit, those who are in possession of information, they will keep it. And unfortunately, there will be state capture point two.
You've mentioned that you are among the few that are lucky to have protection 24/7. You've got bodyguards yourself. How has that changed your life and even your day-to-day? Because, I mean, there are people who will argue, well, it even intrudes on my privacy. As much as I appreciate that level of protection, I would still like to live a normal life.
Yeah, Clement, it's like a double-edged sword. I'm very grateful for my benefactor who has protected me, but he has to go everywhere with me. If I have to go lunch, to the office, to the gym, to a restaurant, he has to double-check my car underneath. He has to walk a few steps behind me. So I feel like I live in a fishbowl, and it's psychologically calming to know that he's there, but then it's also triggering to know that he's there because he has to take a bullet for me should one come. So I have found that I have limited my activities. But it's an intrusion of my privacy. But I thank my benefactor, and I could never thank him enough. But this is the price that I have to pay, and it's a very small price.
Yeah, in fact, the fact that you must still pay a price for having done what is right in exposing corruption just boggles the mind. Mosilo Mothepu, thank you for making time for us.